They're the power players, leaders of the game, making moves in business, building up their fame. They ain't here to play, they're here to make a change, taking over the town, ain't nothing gonna be the same. They got the vision and the hustle on another level, working hard day and night, no time to settle. They ain't afraid to dream big, they go rebel, mingle, making a difference for the community they meddle. They're the bosses, the ones who call the shots, building empires, ain't nobody gonna stop. Investing in the people, giving back a lot. Power players rising, they can't be forgot.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. And this is Power Player Wednesday, baby. It's Power Play. I got a power player who's going to be my guest today. I'm so excited about this because y'all know I love entrepreneurs and I love big ideas and I love new ideas. And she's going to talk to us about something that's really amazing that some people probably haven't thought about. Now, I live it every day because I am a caretaker of my uncle. So this is what I do on a daily basis. Just because he's my uncle, he lives with me and I've been taking care of him for a while, but this could actually be a business for somebody, like literally a full-blown business. So my guest today is Miss Sheila Jones. So I'm going to bring her up, but before I do that, I have to show the Gwinnett Women's Chamber some love. So we're going to run their little video and then we're going to come back. I'm going to bring Sheila up. We're going to talk about what does it take to start a non-medical home care business. What does that look like? And how much, listen, I know this is what y'all really want to know. How much money can you really make in this space? I know that's what you really want to know. We're going to talk about that because she knows. I don't know. She knows. But I'm going to play the commercial for Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce. Then we're going to come back and we're going to bring Sheila to the stage. So stay tuned.
What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We're living like this could be a final day. We're dreamers. Don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our way.
Welcome back. So my guest this morning, Miss Sheila Jones. Welcome to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Audrey. I am doing fabulous. Thank you so much for having me this morning on Good Morning Gwinnett. I am so excited.
You're very welcome.
I'm so excited to be a part of your chamber. So, you know, I'm a Californian, but I'm also becoming a part of Georgia as well. And where I have family here, and I'm also doing business in Georgia as well as in California, and actually throughout the United States with my home care training. So I just want to say thank you so much, and I enjoy being a part of your chamber. You are so on top of things, and you respond quickly when I have questions or if I need your help with something, and that's like a really big deal, especially for an entrepreneur that's coming from another state, trying to get established in another state. So I wanted to let you know that I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much. I wasn't expecting that, y'all. But and it's, you know, they say thank you and take that. And it's kind of hard for me to like take the good stuff because I'm so used to just being, you know, under the radar most of the time. But I'm changing that. Yes. And it's so funny. I was telling Sheila before we came on, I woke up this morning and I had all these epiphanies about, you know, things and what I'm going to do. And as soon as I said all that stuff, the computer wouldn't come on. And I was like, oh, but that was a challenge to see, was I really going to practice what I just said I was going to practice?
Exactly.
But thank you so much for that. Listen, before we get started, Sheila is from California. Gwinnett Women's Chamber is a global chamber. Yes, we are located in Gwinnett County, but we do things virtually. If you have a business and you want to come on the show, if you become a member, that you get the opportunity to take advantage of that. One of the things I realized is that small business owners, especially solopreneurs, just don't have the time to do all of the marketing that they have to do. That's why these type of events is so important, because you can share your story and it's going to live on all. So right now we're streaming live on Facebook, 2 pages. We're streaming live on LinkedIn. We're streaming live on Instagram. We're streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live on Twitter. We're streaming live on all of these platforms. And guess what's going to happen? Once this live interview is over, that content will live on all of those platforms forever. Then
Yes.
then Sheila's gonna take that same content and post it on all of her platforms. So the content works for you when you can't work for yourself. The content
Mhm.
works for you when you're doing other stuff. And I
Mhm.
say this a lot, and people think it's just, oh, it's just a video, oh, it's just a podcast. It really isn't. It really is media. And when you don't have the time to do that, then you put yourself in spaces like this. Go get on somebody's show, because they're not going to delete their show. I'm not going to delete my show. Expect now, I
Right.
can tell you, I probably deleted one show in the last 20 years, and it was a horrible
Wow.
show. It was a horrible show. So I just couldn't take it. But most of the time, 99% of the time, the show lives on. So I'm gonna stop rambling about that, and we're gonna get into why we're here, and we're gonna talk about, what does it take to,
Yes.
start this home care,
Yes.
non-medical home care business. So Sheila, I know that you are a nurse. Give our audience a little bit of background about who you are.
Okay, so yes, I'm a registered nurse, 30 years now, and but I retired for probably the third time, like 3 years ago. But I've also started like maybe about 25 years ago doing small business, and then training people for starting any type of a business, because when you start a business, there are some bottom lines to every business, the structure, and then how you go about marketing that business, how you go about managing that business. And so then it branches off into whatever other areas that you might be interested in. But what got me started actually is it was, let me tell you, it was a dream. And I'm Christian, so I prayed to the Lord and I said, Lord, what should I do in my life? And I had a dream, Audrey, that I was a nurse. I saw myself in full uniform with a hat, a badge. It was so clear. But after that dream, it took me 9 years to go back. I was in banking. It took me 9 years to go to school to get my RN degree, but
Wow.
and yes, it took 9 years. And that's the thing. When you ask God for something or what he wants you to do, you better do it. Because during that 9 years, I was miserable on my job. Why? Because I wasn't supposed to be there. So when God gives you a message, when he says, I need you here or there, understand that he's going to part the Red Sea so that you
Mhm.
can walk through and on dry land, right? And
Mhm.
and so that's where I'm at now. So I've been following the Lord to whatever, and it's been a step day by day. But many years ago, I had my own non-medical home care agency, and my mom got sick, and so she had Alzheimer's. She had a little dementia, and then it went into full-blown Alzheimer's. And
Mhm.
I decided that I wanted to take care of my mom,
Mhm.
myself. I did have an agency, but I was able to, let the agency go so I could be there 24/7. I didn't want to have anyone, over my mother, or, there's a thing in healthcare, and I've seen so much as a nurse where people are mistreated, they're misused and abused. And that's one of the things that I try to push as far as this non-medical home care business is concerned, because once you start this business, what it takes, it's not a degree, Audrey. It's not a lot of money. That's not what it takes. What it takes is somebody to have a heart for
Mm.
another person. It takes compassion, it takes dedication, and if you have respect for people, because you're going to be going into people's homes. And now this is for the business owner. So the person, the business owner, entrepreneur that wants to start the non-medical home care business, they may start it out by themselves, which is perfectly fine.
Let me ask you a question before we get that far. I want to go back 1 second. So it took you 9 years to become a RN. How long did you stay in banking before you made the leap?
Oh, I was in banking 15 years.
15 years. You
I was
spent
in banking
15.
I was in banking 15 years. During the time I was in banking is when I prayed and asked God, what I should do with my life. So during part of that 15 years. So from that point, it took me 9 years, Yeah. Yeah.
And
Kind of
how
towards the
long were
end.
you a nurse? So you took 9 years to become an RN, and then you were a nurse for how long?
Yes. Well, to date is I've probably been RN for about 33 years now. But what I'm
Nice.
saying is that I was in banking, and actually towards the end of my banking career, that's when I started, going to school. Yeah, to get my RN,
You know
to get
what's
my
funny? A
RN
lot of people
license.
don't know this about me, but I went to nursing school. I
You
went to,
did.
I did. And my mom told
Okay.
me, I used to work in a hospital. I worked in a hospital for 8.5 years in
Okay.
Newark, New Jersey. And I worked in x-ray. And,
Okay.
I was young. So all I saw was like the nurses taking 4 days off and 3 days on and making all this money. That's all I saw because
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah.
I was blinded by the money and the time off.
Yeah.
And my mom said, so when most of the time when you work at a hospital, and I don't know about down here, but up north, if you worked in New York, New Jersey, you were part of a union. And I was a
Yes.
union
Yes.
delegate. So I was a union delegate, and we went to school for free, as long as it was
Yeah.
in the healthcare field. So I'm like, I'm going for nursing. And
Okay.
I went to school for nursing, and my mom said, "I don't know why you're doing that." And she said that because I wasn't so much squeamish about certain things, but certain things I was squeamish about. So
Okay.
there were one day I was at work, and we're gonna get back, but I gotta share this story because I want y'all
Oh,
to
absolutely.
understand
Oh,
the
absolutely. I
type of
want to hear this.
person, the type of person you gotta be. So I'm
Yeah.
at work, I'm sitting at my desk, and there's a patient that they wheel into X-ray, and the
Hmm.
patient had an ulcer on her hand. She was
Yes.
an IBDA, and she had broken the needle off in her hand. It had become infected.
Oh my
So I
God.
happened to get up and walk down the hall, and I glanced over at her hand, which was oozing,
Yes.
and broke out in hives, Sheila, for three
You did.
days. I
Oh
had
my
to go
goodness.
to employee health. They sent me home. I was home for 3 days with calamine lotion all over my body just from looking at that. So that's
Yes.
why my mom said, "That's not a job for you.
That's not for you.
Not for you." And I was like, "Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's for me. It's for me." And I go to school for 2 complete years. My
Yes.
very first day of clinicals, I quit.
Oh my goodness. Okay. But see, I understand all of that. I really do. But God gave me a heart, and I hung in there no matter what I saw. And to be
Right.
honest with you, wound care was one of my specialties. Yeah. So, and everyone does not have a heart for wounds. I'm telling you.
No, they
Yes.
don't. And I said all that to say because there's going to be somebody who's going to look at this. They're going to hear what you're saying, and all they're going to see is dollar signs.
Okay, and let me say something about the dollar signs because you're going to work for those dollar signs, being a nurse. And you can see nurses, working 3 days on, 4 days off and all of that. But there is a dedication and a commitment that they have to have. And it's not as easy as it looks, especially when you're dealing with the patients. You're
Yeah.
dealing with their families. You're dealing with the doctors. You're dealing with, the other staff, your ancillary staff. And so it's quite a bit. But where I really felt most comfortable in the healthcare field was in home care.
Mhm.
So I worked early on in the hospital, but then I kind of transitioned to home care, which is what really kind of got me to where I am right now today, and why I started the non-medical home care business, and why I now train for the non-medical home care business.
You
Yes.
know, we have another member, and she loves home care.
Mhm.
Like, she has been a nurse for 25 years, and she loves home care.
Yeah.
And she said that when she first started, she was a traveling nurse.
Yes.
Like, she
Yes.
traveled for 5 straight years, and she was married. And she'll tell you, I was married, but I was a traveling nurse for 5 straight years. And I was like, wow. So that was a lot. But
Mhm.
so home care, and then you
Yes.
started a non-medical home care service. Why did you start a non-medical? Because you were qualified to do
Yes.
medical. Why
Yes.
non-medical?
The non-medical home care business, number one, it is an easier business to start. It has a low startup cost. And I gravitated, to the non-medical side because that's kind of where I was at the time. I was taking care of my mom, and I thought, this would be a good business because even early on when my mom was sick, I would have occasionally I would have a caregiver to come into the home,
Mhm.
and to help, kind of alleviate some, help with a little bit like with the cooking and cleaning if I had to go out and things of that nature. And that's kind of what led me into the non-medical home care business. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what exactly is that? Because I hear you say non-medical, you don't have
Mhm.
to have a license, you don't have to have a degree, it's low startup. It sounds very attractive. Um,
Yes.
and people come in just to do a little bit of cleaning and, making sure that the pay. Talk about what that looks like for real.
Yes. Okay. So the non-medical, first of all, there's so many, you hear so many words being thrown around. You hear senior care, you hear home care, you hear non-medical, you hear home health care, and all those have a different meaning. You hear in-home support service. All of those are different entities. And so the non-medical home care business means that the business owner will be hiring paraprofessionals. So it's not your nurses, it's not your therapists, they're not employing like your social workers. They're employing caregivers that have experience, or maybe they don't have experience, that will go into the home to see about a senior person. Perhaps it could be like companion care. Sometimes people don't necessarily need the personal care, like the bathing, or helping them get dressed in the morning, but some people just need companionship. And our seniors are at home. They're alone oftentimes, and that's where depression sets in, suicidal thoughts, all of these things. And so that's why I'm really trying to get the message out, that how important it is for people that have a heart. You got to have a heart for this business, but for people that have a heart to start this type of business to serve the community, because as we all know, the baby boomers, which was from 1946 to 1964 or something like that. Yeah. And so now all of those people are like 65 and older. Yep. And so every year, I think now is probably around 54 million seniors in the United States. So somebody, and all seniors do not have to have care, but there's so many that do. And I also tell people it's not just seniors, because if you start the non-medical home care business, that means that you can go into the home and perhaps help someone from the disabled community. Or it could be a mom and baby coming home, and the mom is stressed out. You know how moms get with their newborns, and it's a new experience. And so then the business owner can send in one of their caregivers to help the mom, a few hours a day, whatever the client need is. Also, someone could be coming home from surgery. And so now, so these tasks that the caregivers are doing are not medical. They're not dispensing medications. They're not doing wound care. They're not starting IVs. They're not doing any of that. That's the medical side. So when we talk about the medical side, which is when you hear the word health, when you hear home health care, that means that that's the medical side of it, where nurses are going out to the home to do assessments under a doctor's order. They're going to do the wound care. They're going to hang the IVs. They're going to be doing all of these medical things. They're going to teach for diabetes, hypertension, all of these things. So that's the medical side. And it's a great business as well. But so is the non-medical home care business, which is what I do. That's what I train for.
So listen, God is challenging me today, and I'm going to tell you why God is challenging me, because I woke up this morning and said I was going to be focused.
Yeah.
I'm going to focus on one thing. That's what I told myself. But when I'm sitting here talking to you, I had an idea, so a friend of mine, we had an idea for a medical courier business. Okay. And I did everything for the logo, the website. I did everything. And he said, "Are you sure you want to do this? Because that's going to be a lot of wear and tear, blah, blah." He gave me all these reasons why. After we said yes, then we said no. But now I'm thinking about what you're saying. And so my mind is going like this. But this is my question for you.
Yes.
You said a lot of things, right? I heard new moms. That clicked in my head instantly. I heard companion. And why that clicked in my head was because after I left the hospital, so the hospital that I worked in in Newark was called Children's Presbyterian Hospital. It went bankrupt. And when it went bankrupt, I went into the insurance field. So I'm a licensed financial advisor. I don't talk about that very often either. And I worked for Prudential, and I worked in small claims. And while I was in small claims, every day, right before 3:00, this woman would call me. Her name was Miss Fredrickson.
Uh-huh.
And every day they was like, Audrey, Miss Frederickson is on the phone for you. She was she was older and she just wanted somebody to talk to. And
Yes.
I've always been that person where I felt like, you just don't know what people are going through. So I would
Yes.
talk in my mind. I'm thinking, Miss Frederickson, I got 5 minutes before I clock out of here. But she would call me every day at 3 o'clock, almost 3 o'clock. And every day, the girl that would tell me her name was Barbara. For some reason, Barbara got this call every day, or Felicia. Barbara Felicia got the call every day. But what I realized was that she needed companionship. Now her husband,
Yes.
she had a husband, but he was very ill. So
Okay.
when he passed away, she stopped calling me. She called to tell, she called to let
Oh,
me know he had passed away. And that
yes.
was the last time I talked to her.
Oh my gosh.
That was the last time I talked to Miss Frederickson. And so when I think about companionship,
Hmm.
I think that's so neat. I feel like I was looking at something yesterday, and they say America is the only country that disposes of its elderly people.
And that is the disheartening thing,
Yeah,
Audrey.
yeah,
I grew up loving old people. God just gave me that heart. Let me just say that. He
yeah.
gave me that heart, which is why I'm doing what I do.
Hmm.
And so the home care business, of course, is not just for seniors, but our seniors oftentimes suffer the most, because they are cast aside and they're at home oftentimes by themselves. Family is gone, or people have died off or whatever, and
Yeah,
so they're there sitting for hours. Sometimes seniors that I have visited, they may not have a visitor all week, or all month, or no one to call them. And so that's why this non-medical home care because let me tell you about the medical side, is that you cannot visit continuously with seniors or do these home care duties under the government. That does not fly. So
hmm,
with the home health care, you only have a limited time under a doctor's order and according to Medicare guidelines and insurances that you can actually go see a patient. So they're called patients. On the non-medical home care side, we call them clients. And so once they hire you, once the client says, I would like for your agency to send someone to see me, then they will pay you a fee. And depending on how long that they need the help, or that they're able to pay. Because one of the biggest things is that when you run a non-medical home care agency, your clients are going to be paying you out of pocket. So
hmm,
now a lot of seniors don't have a lot of money for these services to keep going and going.
yeah.
One of the good things that's happened, Audrey, I would say probably the last 3 or 4 years, is that if you have a client that has qualified for Medicaid in this part, I say Medi-Cal, which is California, but Medicaid, that's in this part of the country, rest of the country, if they qualify for Medicaid, then the business owner of the agency can get a license
Hmm.
and they can build Medicaid. That is a big
Oh,
deal. Okay, so that means that you're getting payment out of pocket. You can bill Medicaid or Medi-Cal, and also say veterans. That's another source, of income, and so you can also service veterans. There's money there, and that's what you're going to learn at my workshop, July the 20th at the Hampton Inn. Go to S. Jones
love.
Career Academy.
Yes.
And
So I want to go back for a second because I'm excited. I'm saying, go,
okay,
ooh, ooh, Lord,
okay.
you're testing me right now.
And I want to talk
Um,
about the money. Yes, but
we're gonna talk about the money, but I
yeah.
want to go back to the structure first because the first thing that came to my mind when we talked about it, when I looked at your website,
Hmm.
is hiring people, right?
Yeah.
So most of the people know how to structure a business. If they don't, they'll learn it in the workshop. But I want to talk about this two specific things: hiring people, right? And the
Yes.
money, like how much money
Okay.
can you make. So let's go back to the hiring people first, because for me, when I think about hiring people, and I'll give you another prime example, the same friend who talked about starting the medical courier business together, he had a
Mhm.
cleaning service, had a big
Okay.
contract
Yeah.
down in Valdosta, could not keep good people. could
Yes.
not be good people. So when
Hmm.
I think about hiring people, like how do you know how to hire people? Like what, because right now there are a lot of people who are struggling. They want to,
They want
they're
a
just
job.
taking jobs because they need to pay the bills. They don't
Yeah.
have a lot of compassion. You can tell when you go into the restaurant, you get the worst customer service ever. It's like you should
Yeah.
have stayed home today. The problem
Yes.
is they can't stay home because they need the money because they got to take care of their families. So when you
Yeah.
think about hiring people, how do you know who to hire? And like, do they get bonded? Do you bond people? Because I got a friend right now.
Hmm.
She takes care of her elderly father. He recently
Right.
had a mild stroke, and her fear is I don't want to let people in my house
That was
because
me, girl.
I don't want to let
That
people in
was
my
me.
house. And
That's me with my
so,
mom.
how
Yes.
do you know? Like, as I'm going to start this business, I need to hire some people. How do I know if I'm hiring the good people, the right people?
Okay, and let me tell you, Audrey, you don't know.
Mm,
That's the thing about it. You don't know these people that you hire are complete strangers unless you're hiring someone, say within your family or a friend or someone that is
that could be just
recommended
as bad,
for
Sheila.
your business.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
we're
that could
not
be
going
just
there
as
today,
bad.
Audrey. But you really don't know, and that's why you have to be that's why you have to be in prayer over your
Mm,
business every day and ask God to send you quality people. Now that doesn't mean that everybody's going to be quality. So but what you're doing is it has to do with the vetting system as well. So you want to make sure that who you're hiring first of all are who they say they are. So you want to do a background check. You have got to do background checks. You've got to do fingerprinting. You've got to check their referrals. You got to do all of those references. You have to do all of that. And then it comes also with training, because some people are not vested in your business, and so you have to show them how important this business is to you. And then not only that, but what I see also with some agencies, Audrey, is that the sometimes the owners of the businesses, they don't invest in their employees, and so
okay.
the employees, so there's no connection. So
Mhm.
my thing is give them something to look forward to, train them the right way. I'm a person for, educating, letting people know, what they need to be doing, why they need to be doing it, giving them opportunities for advancement, bumping up their salary a little more than the competition. If you want people to work with your agency for a length of time, you can't pay them pennies.
Mm,
So they have to have a feeling of that they're worth something,
yeah.
in order for them to feel like they really want to work for you. Do incentive programs. Even, people appreciate, Audrey, even a little $10 gift card to somewhere, or $25 gift card because you're letting them know, I see you and I appreciate you putting your heart into my business. And
Let,
yes.
let me ask you this, because I'm playing devil's advocate here because I've kind of lived through some of this. So been an
Okay.
entrepreneur for a long time, 27 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and you start this business, you want to bring in people, you want to show them that they matter
Yeah.
because you want them to be a part of what you're doing. You want to almost make them feel like your family, right? But here's what I found about that. That's a little tricky because
It's
I've
tricky.
done this quite a few times only to get my back kicked in, to get
Oh, yeah.
people mad at me for no reason, to get people
Mhm.
not doing the work they claim they were supposed to. I remember I had this was a family member, a real family member, had a
Okay.
family member working for me, right? My husband
Mhm.
and I, we had a family member working for us.
Right.
They were supposed to be doing something. They had a whole bunch of documents they supposed to be doing things with. We went somewhere and they were all in the trash. They
Oh
came
my
back
God.
to the office like they had did all this work and talked to all these people, and we just happened to go. I forgot. I think it was a restaurant or something. And we had two people. One was a friend of a family member, and one
Yeah.
was a family member.
Mm.
Put our stuff in the trash. And
Mm.
so I fired them. Like I fired them.
Yes.
You're fired. But
Yes.
when you think about, you don't know who you're hiring, right? You
Yeah.
want to bring them in and make them feel like they're part of the company. Some
Hmm.
people want to take over the company, right? They
Yes,
feel
they
like
do.
you bring them in, right? You bring them. You feel like, hey, I'm gonna bring you in. You bring them in, and they want to take over. They now you become the enemy of this thing that you started because they want to take over. So I wish there
It's
was
a
ways.
hard balance.
Yeah.
it's a hard balance. And the thing of it is, when we are quote unquote, where the buck stops with us,
Mm-hmm.
there has to be some distance, because even though they might be family, even though there might be really good friends or what have you that are helping with your business, you still have to be the boss. You can't be their friend. And I think that that's a relationship that you have to let them know that in the beginning. I know we're friends, I know we're this or that, but I have a business to run. And so this is how I have to run my business. I hope you don't get offended. Maybe this is not a good fit for you.
Yeah.
But you have to separate yourself from your employees. You have to get close enough, but yet not to where you're so friendly that they don't respect you,
Yep.
and they don't feel like they have to do what you're asking them to do. Yeah.
And that
Well,
goes from
it's a crazy balance though.
it's and respect is so huge. I know when I started the chamber,
Mhm.
people were telling me, well, you can't be so accessible, right? But in my mind,
Mhm.
I'm like, I can be accessible. I can. But I had a conversation with someone who I had invited to be a part of what we were doing.
Yeah.
And I before the chamber, I thought we were cool. So when I invited the person in, I invited them in because, hey,
Yeah.
we're cool. Well, that
Right.
person came in, want to cut my head off and was like, and I was like, what's up with you? I thought we were cool. It's like, it's not about being cool. It's about business. I was
There
like,
you
ooh.
go. There you
So
go.
that
Yeah.
taught me a valuable lesson is that, I
Mhm.
can't be friends with everybody.
No,
I can be
no.
friends who want to be friends with me, but you have to be able to discern like those different kind of spirits. And you have to, it's a
Yeah.
little hard though, because sometimes you could be all in too quick. And by the time
Yes.
you figure it out, you're hurt, you're burned, it's
Yeah.
just a lot of that goes on with that. So I just
Yeah.
want to
But
say that part. Anybody
yeah,
who's
but
thinking about this, and you got to hire people, and
right.
you're a good person at heart. They think they're good people at heart because I'm a
Mhm.
good person, and you think you're a good person. But you
Yeah.
can bring in the wrong person into your business, your organization, and that
Yeah.
person can be like cancer and spread.
Yeah.
And I've
But
seen
let me
it
say that it happens. It happens
happen.
in every industry. You know what I mean? So it's not just home care, healthcare, industry. It happens across the board. And so what do? When things like that happen? You know, you have to move on. You have to move on from that. Count your losses, girl. And move on,
Yeah,
because you have a business to run,
yeah.
and a lot of things that may happen interfere with your business, and especially when it's people that we know or we love, it may hurt, but you gotta pick it up, pick up your feelings on the floor, and keep pushing forward.
And and,
That's
and,
what you
and
have
it
to do.
and it's gonna harden you a little bit because I tell you,
Yeah, yeah,
I had a rough few months at the beginning of the year, and I'm telling you, my heart was broken. I'm like,
yes,
what? Like these are people that
yes,
I genuinely liked and cared about,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I tell you,
It can hurt.
they double teamed on me, and I was like,
Mhm.
wait a minute. It was to the point
Yes.
where I couldn't even think straight because I was letting this like just control my like what happened. Like I thought we were
Hmm.
good and we weren't
Yes.
good. Not in their opinion. Like I wasn't doing
Yes.
anything right. Like I'm
Yes.
like, and I'm out here like missing. Anyway, I digress.
Okay.
So you have to figure out how to get the right people, and sometimes
Yes.
people will show up. Let me tell y'all this: people will
Yeah.
show up. And Sheila, you know this. They're going to show up. They're going to pass the background check.
Mhm.
They're gonna
Yes.
be everything you think they should be, and in some kind of way. Not everybody, y'all, because not everybody's like that. There are a few they have other things that are on their agenda and they have other things that they're personally dealing with. And
Yes.
how
Correct.
do you make sure, when you're hiring these people that they don't go there and harm your client because they have
Mhm.
stuff going on that you didn't see because they passed the background check. And when they're
Yeah.
in your presence, they're amazing. And then they
Yes.
go out to someone home and they're suck.
I've had those experiences, and so I had to pick up the pieces and move on, because that happens. Yes, people come in with a different thought. You think that they're there to work and to serve, because this business, the home care business, is about serving. We are servants, but everyone that goes into the business doesn't feel that way. Every caregiver that you hire does not feel like they're a servant or serving. And so they're serving themselves, but you don't know that right away. And then later on, it comes out that it's basically about them. It's not about the client. But this business is a wonderful business. It is a six-figure business, Audrey, you know, where, and let me say about the cost. So now when you have your agency, the norm kind of throughout the country, what you might be charging your clients is from anywhere from 25. The cost has gone up from like way back in the day. Say from 25 to $35 an hour is what the agency will be charging their client. And but then out of that, you have to pay your employees and you have to pay your overhead. The beautiful thing about it is that you can run it from home. And so in the state of Georgia, you know, you can, and in many states, you can run the business from home, as long as you have what I call, even in your home, if you have a corner. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to have a home office. You can have a corner. That corner is yours, you know, hands off for the rest of the family, on your computer, on your locked cabinet, because that contains your personal information, and you have to run it like a business, because the State Department could come in, or the Health Department could come in and do an audit, and the next thing you know, they're shutting you down, you know, because you're not running the business right. You have not been keeping good records, you know. So we're serving the public, and so there are agencies that want to make sure that, you know, that we're doing, you know, the right thing when we start these type of businesses. So, but the money it is good money. It is a six-figure business. And I kind of calculated it like, say if the agency carries anywhere from 10 to 20 clients, say over a year's time, which is easy to do. And you're charging them, say at the lowest, $25 an hour to maybe go out a few times a week, a few hours a day. You can make a good 150,000 easy over a
how many
12-month
employees though?
period.
Like how many? So it's a six-figure business, but you got overhead and you got employees. So out of that six
Absolutely.
figures, what is
Yeah.
like the net basically from that for the agency owner?
Yeah, well, you can boil it down to, say, if you're paying your if you're charging, say, your clients anywhere from $25, say $25 to $30 an hour, you're gonna have to pay your employees at least whatever the I always say a couple of dollars above minimum wage, you know. And so that means but the agency, I would say, would be making still more than half. So
Okay.
you're going to still clear more than half, which is a really good business. It's a really good living. The overhead is low. So
Yeah.
if you can run the business from home, how you do that as far as hiring your caregivers and all of that, just like many people do, many business owners, they will meet, say, at a Starbucks. But now, you know, you have incubators, you have all of these places where you can go and pay
Workspaces.
a minimum amount of money a month and have your business meetings there. And that's how you can run your business. You can run your business off your cell phone, get a Google, get free phone line, you know, get a mailbox, you know, at a UPS but don't give out your own address. Don't have people coming to your home. You can run the business, you know, very well in the community. Or you may know someone that has an office, and maybe they'll let you have a desk in in their office, say for a few $100s, $500 a month, whatever. Is very doable.
It is
Yes,
very doable, and co-working spaces are really good spaces. We here in Gwinnett County, we have
absolutely.
some beautiful ones. We got Cornerstone downtown Lawrenceville. I was just at Thrive on Saturday over in Snellville, really
Mhm.
beautiful. I'm gonna
Yes,
go check out Cohatch over in Duluth. So
yes.
we have a bunch of beautiful co-working spaces where you can meet people. You have conference rooms and things like that. So that's so true.
Yeah.
I want to go back a minute though. I want to go back to hiring and then salary. So what is the minimum wage in, I don't even know what the minimum wage here is in Georgia because I'm a solopreneur, so I just do contractors. What is the
Yes.
minimum
Oh,
wage
okay. You
in
said,
California and Georgia?
okay, and remind me too, you said something about contracting, and we'll talk just a bit about independent contractors
Okay.
as well. But I think the minimum wage in Georgia, I'm thinking it's like around $14, $15, something like that. I might be wrong, but that's the whole thing. Is even though it's $14 or $15, what the state of Georgia says the minimum wage is, that doesn't mean that you have to pay your employees
Right.
that, so I feel that people will feel more valued when you kind of raise the bar a little bit,
Yeah.
and pay them at least a couple of dollars, over what the minimum wage is. And then after people are with you for a while, then give them a raise, that'll give them incentive to stay with you, long term. Yes.
Yeah, I agree
Hmm.
with that. So independent, like so I'm a solopreneur, so I don't have staff, but whenever I need something, I go out and find me a contract in a New York minute. So you say
Yes.
you want to talk about that.
Yes. In the state of Georgia, you do not have to hire your caregivers. They do not have to be employees. So you
Mm,
can hire independent contractors, which means that you as a business owner do not have to pay those employee taxes.
mm,
You don't have to get the workers' compensation. You don't have to give them benefits. All of that is in their contract. They are responsible for all of those things. So that also takes, so at the end of the year, you're giving them a 1099. And so they're
mhm.
filing their own taxes. So that's a great thing. But I will say something about that. It does help the business owner to kind of alleviate some of the burden, some of the financial burden. But then over long term, and when you're really trying to scale your business, using independent contractors is good, but you do need to hire a few people, put them on the payroll, because
Mhm.
that way there's more commitment. And
Yeah.
so you can get, yeah, but independent contract, they say, oh, I'm not going over there, oh, okay, well, I don't have that kind of time to do this, that, or the other. So, so you have to kind of weigh the options there.
So,
Yes.
in the business world, one of the things they always talk about, and they talk about niching down, like pick a niche, focus on that niche. Would you say that this would be something that you should think about before you start your agency? Like, I only want to work with elderly people they just need companion. I need to drop
Yeah.
in 3 days a week, or I only want to work with new moms. Because when you said that, I was like, that's a good audience. Like, I
Yes.
only want to work with new moms, and so
Yes.
they think, because I feel like when you try to be everything to everybody, you kind
Hmm.
of mess yourself up. Hence, I know this because I've done that. So, do you
Yes.
think that's a good way to just niche it down?
I think that for you to make the kind of money that you want to make, I say open it up. That's
Okay.
my yeah. So when you start your agency, you can decide on what your services are going to be. Now you can have a niche like with mom and baby, where you might want to market to the hospitals and, to the NIC units and to, the discharge planners and things for new moms and babies coming home. That's a beautiful niche. And you can do that. I think it depends on the business owner, what they're looking to do with their business.
Mm-hmm.
Most businesses that I know, they kind of open it up to where, the service, it can be actually for mom and baby, because the people that you're going to hire, some may be comfortable with seniors. Some may be comfortable and love, our disabled community. Some may want to do mom and babies, that kind of thing. But when you talk about home care, there's so much in the home that you can do,
Mm-hmm.
and so it could be just a companion care. But if it's just a companion care business, you're limiting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So most caregivers have had experience, with doing personal care, helping someone in the morning, with their bathing, with the shower, getting ready, getting dressed, those kind of things, and those are the things that a lot of people will need in the home.
Mm-hmm. I like
Yes.
that. I like
Hmm.
that. So now let's talk about what does it take legally. I know you got to probably set up an LLC. I know you got to get your business license for your town, but do you
Yes.
need any other kind of medical certifications that can you start just with a LLC? I got an LLC. I got my business bank account. I
Right.
got an address. I got a Google phone. Is that all I really need? I don't need like anything else.
Okay, you do need something else, Miss
Okay.
Audrey. Thank you so much for asking. Because
Because I'm like, that's not real easy.
okay. So here's the thing about home care, is that it is heavily regulated. So that
Mm,
means when you get the business started, you do want to do your LLC, or you can do a sole proprietorship.
mhm,
Okay. But you want to do one or the other, or you can incorporate whatever business structure that you want. That's what you can do. And then you want to get your EIN number. You want to get your state license, because most states require whatever business you have, you got to have a state license first. And
Mm-hmm.
so then the other step is that if you want to do home care, then your health department is saying, okay, you want to do health care, you want to service the community, or home care, and you want to service the community, that's fine, but we need to license you.
Mm.
So then there is a second licensing. That process is another process. And so that is a cost, because you have an application that you have to fill out, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages application,
Mm-hmm.
to fill out, which is okay, it's all doable. But then there's a fee for that in every state. Every state has a fee for a home care license. Along
Mm-hmm.
with that home care license, you also have to have your policies and your procedures. And that's where a lot of people get stuck, Audrey. They will form their LLC, they'll get their business license, they get their EIN number, they get all of their marketing materials, and they feel that they're in business. No, you are not in business. You want to do it the right way. You want to do it legally, because if anything happens, then you want to make sure that you are covered, that you have your home care license through your Department of Health, and then also your insurance and all of that, as well. So getting the home care license, it's a lengthy process, and you need to make sure that you have your policies and your procedures. So they give you all of the instructions, and that's what I do, is I help you to go through that process. So with my class on July 20th, what we do is I teach step by step how to get that home care, how to get that business up and running, what you need legally, and then what is required as far as your home care business. How do you hire? Where do you get your money? All of these aspects, what services you provide, where do you get all of this information from? So I want to take people step by step. So when they leave the workshop, they're going to know everything they need to know to get their business up and running. And then I'll be available for consultation, after that. Mhm.
So as when I think about what you're saying, that part sounds a little bit complicated for some people. So, but
Mhm.
to
Yep.
get your regular state license, the where you live from the Secretary of State, that's a piece of cake. Go
That's
pay your
very simple.
$100. Go
Absolutely.
call. I get to EIN. That's like nothing. This
Yes.
other license, what is the time frame? Like, do they have to go take a class? Do they have to go take a test? Because some people don't
Mm.
test well.
What?
Some
No, no,
people
no,
have
no.
the
There's no
okay,
test. Yeah,
okay.
there's no test. There's no test involved. What you do is you go onto the state website or to the health department or whatever entity in your state, because it differs, from state to state. And then you pull off the application. And so
Mm-hmm.
the application will tell you everything that you need. You don't have to go to school for anything. You
Okay.
don't have to have a nursing license. You don't have to have, any type of a professional license. A lot of people that start this business, they're not in healthcare at all. And but they have a heart. And I keep going back to the heart and to the compassion. So
Mm-hmm.
that license or that application, it will tell you everything that you need to do in order to submit to submit the application with their fees and all of the policies, because they'll say, if you want to start this type of business, then we need to know that you know this and this and this and this and this. And so every one of those items, you have to have a policy and a procedure. So when you
Mm-hmm.
turn in that application, they feel comfortable that you're going to run the business the right way. These are requirements.
Mm-hmm.
This is compliance. You have to be compliant.
Okay.
And so
So
that's the big part that I help with. So that is another piece of the puzzle.
okay.
Yes. Hmm.
So from start to finish, what's the approximate startup cost and time to start up? What are we looking at? How much and how long?
Oh, okay. And so you did mention about also, and so let me say this. Yes, you can get your state license like, in minutes on some platforms, right? But for the home care license, that license, it can take you anywhere from 3 months
Mm,
to 9 months. And reason being is because once you submit it to the Department of Health or whatever entity you have to, whatever state that you're in, then if anything is missing, if anything is in your background that is not appealing to them, then they will send it back to you. So that means, or if you're missing something on the application, then what they'll do is they will say, you're missing this, this, and this. So then they will give you time to get that back to them. But in the meantime, it's taking time. So when they send it back to you, then you have to get whatever items that you missed and send it back in. And then it's kind of like, it's a waiting game. You'll get your license basically, but it does take time, So I would say for the startup cost, I would say around 5,000, or so for the startup cost, which for a business, for a lucrative business like this, is no money.
Right.
At all.
Can you break down the 5,000? Like, what is the 5,000 going to be used for? Because the set up the business is $100. What's the rest of the money used for?
Right. Okay. And so I'm just saying 5,000 just to kind of round it out, because you never know. But you're talking about now getting your home care license. Now, for us, to do your home care license, it's a lengthy process and it takes a lot of time. So we charge $2,500 to get your license for you, to help you through that process. So that's where people get stuck. They get stuck because they get this application, they see all the things that are needed, and we have every possible policy and procedure, forms, and everything that our clients need, and so we will take care of that for them. But it does take time, and any business you start that's worth it is going to take money. So you can't be cheap, but you're going to get your money back.
That part again.
You can't be cheap, y'all. It costs money, and time is money. So that's one of the things. But because you can run it from home, so you don't have to have your rent, you don't have to have your lease amount, your monthly lease. But you do have to get your marketing materials together. You do have to do hiring. You do have to get some, a good computer, get your file cabinet, things of that nature. Marketing costs a lot of money. Yes. To market my business, I just did 2 days at the Women's Expo in Duluth, which was just fabulous. I was one of the presenters, but it's money. To get your booth is money. And all the time that you spend, it takes a lot. You can spend thousands of dollars, but the point is, you've got to, if you have a dream for your business, you have a goal, and you have a goal in mind as to how you want that business to look, then you've got to put time in, blood, sweat, and tears. You know that, and you have to put the money in. Yeah, it's not cheap. This is it's still a very low startup cost, but it's not cheap. Business, it takes time, and you get tired and you get frustrated, and it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, you get yourself together, and you can have a pity party for a few minutes, but you better not stay there too long.
That's it.
And get up and handle your business.
Yeah, what Sheila said is absolutely correct. I remember when I started my very first business. I call it my first real business. I had a bunch of them before the real one, and I remember quitting my job. Sheila, listen, don't do that. Don't do that. I quit my job, and I would get up every morning at 3:00 in the morning, and I would go sling papers. Now I had a good job, making 6 figures, working at Verizon, had a good job. And my mother, everybody thought I had lost my mind, but I was following my dream. I wouldn't suggest anybody do that because that was so stressful. Yes. I had a daughter at the time. I was a single parent, and I quit my job to follow my dreams. But that was so stressful because I didn't have the monies now that I needed to do the marketing. I had to learn everything myself. Now, has that served me later in life? Absolutely. But trying to do the business. So I invented a doll. And the doll was manufactured in Hong Kong. So I had to take this idea in my head, which I did. I sent it. I told this lady about it who sculpted it in clay. She sent me the clay. We approved the clay. She sent it back in wax. We approved the wax. Then we sent the wax to Hong Kong. Right. That
Right.
was a process. That was the easy
Okay.
part.
Yeah.
So the hard part was trying to figure out how to start marketing the business. And this was internet was just kicking off, y'all. Like internet was not what it is right now when it's walking around in your pocket. We had pagers. Let me just, you know what a pager is? Somebody like, what's a pager? It was a beeper. We had a beeper.
Yes. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Right. That's what the doctors will wear, right? The doctors,
Oh, yeah,
the doctors will wear the
yeah.
beeper. Everybody had a beeper. So you have to think about this for the long haul. It's not going to be easy. Every day will not be like roses. You're
No.
going to walk in a whole lot of BS, right?
Mm-hmm,
You're going to bump into a whole lot of people who claim they want to see you succeed, but they don't. So you, all of these things. Now, here's what I will say. You want to get to a community that's going to support you.
Okay, that's what I was going to say too. Like you know what I mean? Because you got to be connected.
Yeah.
And you cannot be an island out here by yourself and thinking that you're going to make something happen. It takes a village.
Yeah.
It does. It takes different, aspects of business, or different entities that you have to collaborate. You have to do associations, with people, with organizations. And that's why I love, that's why I love the chambers, Audrey's chambers, because she supports you. And Audrey didn't know me from a can of paint, and I just met Audrey last year, but she has been more supportive, and I have felt more connected to the community, and where I felt like I had some support. When you don't have support, that's a lonely feeling, and you feel like you can't accomplish what you know that's in your heart to do. So you got to find a Audrey. Well, here she is right here, y'all. So find you Audrey, honey. Join the chambers, y'all.
I invite you to join the chamber, but you have to find your tribe. And let me just say this. You may not find the right tribe the first time out the gate, because you may feel like this group is, and that's okay. Find somebody. And I'm going to say this. If you find yourself always at odds with people and always, there's always a problem, you might want to do a self-check. Because if it's always a problem with everybody, you're never going to find a tribe if it's always a problem with everybody, because you're the problem. So I'm going to tell you to do a self-check first. If you find that everybody, there's always something wrong with everybody, and
that is always, so serious.
Do a self-check. When you do the self-check, understand that, and I had to learn this, Sheila. When I first moved to Georgia, I was born in Georgia, but I was raised in Jersey. So in Jersey, up north, things do move fast. Why do things move fast? Because we didn't have time to lay back. Like down here in Georgia, they were kind of laid back when I moved down here. So when I moved down here, people would say stuff like, let's go for coffee. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do this first. They're like, no, let's go for coffee. And I'm like, okay, we can go for coffee, but how about we do, they would not do anything until we had dinner or lunch or coffee. And I realized they're dead serious about that. And I know this sounds like a cliche. People do business with people they like. And no, that's not a cliche. That's for real.
Yes.
That is absolutely for real. So find your people, support your people. Don't go there complaining and whining about everything, because everybody's there trying to go somewhere. And if that's what's happening is you. I'm just saying. But that's not going to help you in the long run. And you want to do it by yourself, because I don't want anybody, I'm telling you, that's not going to help you. That's not going to help you grow. That's not going to help you scale. That's not going to help you do the thing, unless you just want to have a solo business. And that's fine, because that whole running an empire, not for everybody.
No, it is not.
You need to have an empire mindset if you want to run an empire. And here's the thing.
Say that.
You know how you do that? Go find other folks running empires and learn from them. Because if you can't keep friends, you are not going to build an empire. And if you build it, it's going to crumble. So
let me say this to that point. When you're going from being an employee to an employer, it's a big difference. When you're going from taking orders to giving orders, that's a whole nother situation right there. And your mindset has to change. You have to then say the buck stops with me. You can't put blame on nobody else. You got to look at that business, and say that this is my business and I'm all in. And that's how you're going to have to run. But it is a switch in your mind that you're going to have to learn. It takes time, but you're going to have to learn how to switch from being an employee for decades, and then now you have employees. So be careful about, and don't let other people run your business. When you start a business, don't let people come in and say, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. That might be true, but you have to take a look and see, is that feasible for me? Advice can be good, but sometimes people want you to bend things their way because it's more comfortable for them.
Absolutely.
You do what's more comfortable for you and what you feel is going to make your business grow.
Well, she said a lot right there, y'all. I hope y'all heard that. If you heard nothing else, understand that part, because that is so important. You're going to get people who have opinions about what you should be doing, how you should do it. You should do it this way. That's not the way I'm doing it. And then what'll happen is, because you don't want to do it that way, it becomes a problem. Here's what I'm saying. If the person can't get on board with your plan, hey, give them a ladder to step off. That's all. And that's not being egotistical or arrogant. It's just that if we're not on the same page about where I'm taking my business, then you might just want to fall back and do your own thing and do it your way, your thing, your way. So understand that, because people, you're going to run into, if this is your first journey into entrepreneurship, if this is your first one, you're going to bump into all kinds of people with all kinds of opinions, all kinds of thoughts about what you should and shouldn't be doing. You're going to, the people that you think should help you, won't.
Yeah.
Let me say that part again.
Yes, they won't.
Like they won't help you.
But you have to go outside of your circle, so you have to go to your bank, talk to your accounts manager and let them know you're starting a business. What can they do to help you? So we've been putting money into banks for how long? It's time for payback. How can they help you with your business? You want to have a good accountant. You want to, talk to someone legally about your business so that you have a strong foundation. You want to be able to talk to people and get a good consultant. I don't care what business that you're starting, whether it's a home care business, SJonesHomeCareAcademy.com, but it doesn't have to be that. You could be looking to starting another business. But what you need to do is make sure that you're getting help. Stop trying to do everything yourself and cut corners. It doesn't work. I tried it. It does not work. You got to spend money to make money, and spend it the right way. Spend money on marketing, and making sure that people know what business you're starting, where you're at, what services you provide, how to contact you. You have to do, that's just basic. That's just basic stuff. Yeah.
And I'm going to say one last thing before we close out. Put your foolish pride aside. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because that will hold you back. I know, for me, I go places, Sheila, and I know there are people that don't want to see me walk in the room. I don't care. I'm there. I'm not there for you. I'm there for what this is going to help me do for my business. Absolutely. Put your foolish pride aside. If you know it's something that can help you, you got your pride standing in the way and you're missing opportunities. That's not me. I ain't mad at nobody. I don't care if you don't like me. That's your problem. I got to go get what I got to get. So you want to put that foolish, because you can't have all these crazy things standing in the way of the thing you say you want, right? Absolutely. If you run a successful business, you got to put all that nonsense aside. Yeah. My husband would tell you, my daughter said to me one time, she said, "Oh my God, everybody's not airy fairy like you." I'm not airy fairy, but I don't have time to be walking around living in negativity. I'm trying to do some things. So if there's an issue with me, if I have an issue, that's a me thing. I have to work that out. I got to fix my pride and put my ego on the back burner for right now and keep moving, because my dream is ahead of me and my ego, my pride could be holding me back. So
amen, sister.
I had to just say that, because I know that there are people who say, I'm not doing this with that one because of this, that, and third. You're missing out on great opportunities. You're running away from stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's your run.
Yeah. So I know we're closing up, but I just want to let everybody know I am Sheila Jones from S. Jones Home Care Academy. You can go to my website, SJonesHomeCareAcademy.com. I will be giving a workshop in Where am I doing it, Audrey? In Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Hampton Inn.
In
The
Lawrenceville.
one in Lawrenceville.
At the Hampton Inn. It's going to be July the 20th. It's going to be an all-day workshop from 9 to 4. We do breakfast from 8 to 9, and from 9 to 4, you're going to get information on top of information that you need to get the home care business up and running. So go on to my website. You can purchase your tickets. It's $329. $329. You cannot find a workshop like this for less than that. You get a workbook, you get breakfast, and a lot of nuggets to where you will be grounded enough and feel like you have enough foundation to get your business up and running for 2024.
And here's something. Here's a thought. I promise we're going to close because we are definitely over time this morning. But this was a good conversation. Even if you don't decide to hire anybody, but you just want to do something different, you will have all the skills and tools necessary from Sheila's class to be your own. Listen, I don't want to hire anybody. I don't want to make anybody, but I do want to make 6 figures. I want to make 5 figures, high 5 figures, because I'm trying to retire. I want to just spend two or 3 days doing this thing. Go to the class. It's probably going to be the best $329 you've ever gifted yourself.
I promise you.
That you ever, and in the worst case scenario, you create yourself a part-time job, but you make money on your own terms, on your own schedule. I don't care what nobody say. Someone asked me one time, what was the best thing about being in entrepreneurship? I was like, it ain't the money, but I can definitely tell you it's the freedom.
Yes, it's freedom, and you cannot depend. And this is what I tell people all the time. And I know we're going out now, but I tell people all the time, stop depending on one source of income, because you cannot depend on other people. All you can depend on is you and God, honey. So you need to have another source of income. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, the next day, next month, next year, but you want to be able to support yourself and your family. And sometimes you're not able to do that on these jobs. You have a ceiling. There's a ceiling as to how much money you can make and the creativity that you have. So you want to create something for yourself. That's all I have to say. Audrey, it's been wonderful. And I appreciate you so much. You don't even know. And so I know I'll be seeing you soon, but I just say God bless you in everything that you do, because we need you in this community.
Thank you so much. Listen, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Listen, Sheila's a power player, and she's here trying to help you become a power player. It's Power Player Wednesday. I got more power players coming down the pipe. Make sure to subscribe to the show wherever you're listening or watching. Subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. If you're listening to it on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, subscribe to listen. I used to stream on Amazon. I used to stream on Amazon, but they changed some stuff, so I can't go live from this platform. I wish I could, because I love streaming on Amazon. People on Amazon, they're there to buy, but they're listening and stuff. But anyway, I got to figure out why I can't stream on Amazon anymore from this platform. But anyway, if you enjoyed this show, subscribe to the show and go to the Academy. It's probably gonna be the best $329 you can. And you might listen. You may know someone who who's looking for a change. You may know someone who is really compassionate and they don't mind helping people. That person that just has a heart for people, send them to the Academy. Give them a gift. Somebody's birthday may be coming up. My daughter's birthday is Friday.
Sponsor someone.
Yeah. Sponsor somebody, because this could change their lives. And not only that, you don't know whose front door they're going to walk in and who that person is and how that person may change their lives as well. So thank you again, Sheila, for just sharing this with me. Thank you for being willing to share. Love you too. And I wish you nothing but the best. And we'll talk soon.
Okay. Yeah, we will. Okay. Thank you so much. God bless everybody.
Thank you. Okay. Listen, everybody. I gotta go, but if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe to the show. I'll be back again tomorrow. Not audio, not video. I'll be on regular live audio. I'll be back again tomorrow at 10 a.m. God willing. Stay safe out there. Have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful day. And until next time, my friends, make it a great day. Bye, y'all.
You've been watching or listening to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the show today and share it with your friends by going to www.goodmorninggwinnett.com.